Okay, good evening, everybody. I am Pradeep Sahu. Today, we will discuss about disaster management recent trends, and we need to cover many parts as quick as possible because we have few classes left only. Okay, so today the topic is disaster management recent trends. Okay, so in this topic, we will discuss what is disaster management and how it is trending now. What is the recent trend of it? Okay, we'll discuss about that around 2 hours. Okay, so the first topmost topic is development perspectives to disaster management. What it means, development perspectives. What are the development perspectives to disaster management? Matlab, what are the developments we need to do to prevent disaster, and what are the post disaster management activities that leads to development activity. Okay, so the world disaster report 2003 brought out by the International Red Cross and Red crescent societies called for disaster risk reduction targets to be added to the international development goals for 2015 and beyond. These targets could include reducing by half and increasing the number of governments with dedicated plans and resources for risk reduction programs. The main purpose of it is the risk reduction strategy. Okay, we have to we do not avoid the disaster, but by taking proper measures, by taking proper preventive measures, the risk may be reduced a lot. Okay, then the World Disaster Report 2003 contains criticism of over reliance on high profile aid operations to save lives when long-term investment in disaster mitigation at the local level have proven to be much more effective. No international aid effort was necessary when the worst hurricane since 1944 hit Cuba in 2002, but only 5 people died. Local mechanism were in place to evacuate 700,000 people from Havana and other threatened areas. Of the 53,000 people rescued from the floodwater in Mozambique's two great floods, local people saved around 34,000 people. Okay, so it is an event in which was occurred in Cuba. 1944 hit Cuba in 2002, and another incident was around 7 lakh people was affected by that incident, and 50,000 people safely rescued, and around 34,000 people saved by local peoples, by community resilience. Okay, science and technology for disaster management. So as far as recent trends of disaster management is concerned, it is completely based on science and technology based. Okay, many scientific measures have been taken care, technology have been adopted throughout the globe, and that's the reason we are mitigating disaster in a large manner. Okay, currently the all hazard approach, I have told yesterday. What do you mean by hazard? Hazard means anything which has a potential to cause harm is known as a hazard. It may be for man, it may be for material, it may be for environmental. If something happens which is leads to damage the property is known as a hazard. If something happen which is lead to injury to health, human health, is also known as a hazard. If something happens that leads to the damaging impact to the environment, that is also known as a hazard. So currently the all hazard approach is being emphasized in America as a holistic strategy to combat disasters. The understanding that underlines this approach is that all disaster, irrespective of type, can be dealt with based on common knowledge or expertise, based on academic researches and preparedness, based on information derived thus and constant updating of such knowledge. Means hazard can be minimized by continuous research activities, by continuous gaining knowledge, community awareness, knowledge about the disaster, expertise based on academic research as well. Okay, preparedness also takes an important role for minimizing a disaster. Okay, its chief resilience, if its chief uh, reliance is on science and technology for capacity creation. It relies on creating capacity through R&D in science and technology to deal with any and every kind of disasters, ranging from earthquake to terrorism. Earthquake to terrorism. मतलब it is starting from, मतलब we consider it as a earthquake as well as terrorism. Okay, based on and converting road and development to practice readily to attempt new and innovative ways to deal with crises, whether natural or man-made. For this purpose, collection of science and technology expertise scattered across institutions within the edges of a single agency is necessary, that acts as cleaning house as well as coordinating agency with respect to myriad disciplines or concerns, even within science involved in disaster management. What it means, without science and technology, disaster management cannot be possible, okay, in a effective manner. Then we have discussed already the disaster cycle yesterday. Let us recall it. Disaster, it has some components, that is response, recovery, mitigation and preparedness. Okay, so if you consider it in a two phases, then one is before the event, before the disaster happens, another is after the event. Okay, so in response region, disaster happens, then the response region, what are the factors? Damage assessment, we need to assessment about the damages. Post disaster coordination and responses, we need to coordinate throughout our management systems, throughout the state government management system. The state government will flow the structure to central government. Okay, then recovery, in recovery phase we have some points: reconstruction, infrastructure and service restorations. Means the damaging impact which has response did, then we need to recover all these things. If a earthquake happens, then reconstruction should be made upon there. Infrastructure and service restorations means infrastructure conditions should be as before as पॉसिबल, मतलब जो पहले था उस कंडीशन को लेना है. एंड द इलेक्ट्रिक सप्लाई, द रोडवेज, इट शुड बी in a proper manner. It is should be in the recovery region. Okay, as far as mitigation or prevention is concerned, it is should be in long term basic, long term risk assessment and reduction should be there. Okay, then preparedness, again we need to prepare for disaster, मतलब monitoring and detection, forecasting and predictions. We need to follow radios, we need to follow TVs, we need to follow newspapers to aware about disasters. Okay, so then only we will be prepared enough to handle a disaster or to face a disaster. Okay, then the subcommittee on disaster reduction, SDR, subcommittee on disaster reduction, SDR, Subcommittee on Disaster Reduction of the National Science and Technological Councils, NSTC, in the United States 2003 has articulated 6 important areas that require continued energy and appropriate resources to meet the challenges of hazard risk reduction. The same may be pertinent for all countries facing the threat of terrorism, which is the single most horrifying disaster possibility in recent times. Okay, so what are those things? First is leveraging existing knowledge of natural and technological hazards to address terrorism events. Okay, improve hazard information data collection and predictions capability. We need to emphasize in those points. Ensure the development and widespread use of improved hazard and risk assessment models and their incorporation into decision support tools and systems. Okay, speed the transition from hazard research to hazard management applications. Okay, it should be in a speedier manner. Increase mitigation activities and incentives. We need to increase mitigation activities. Unless until we need to increase mitigation activities, disaster should not be minimized in a quicker and effective manner. Okay, expand risk communications capabilities. We need to expand our risk communication capabilities, especially public warning systems and techniques. Okay, in many areas, alarm systems have been already placed to aware about the cyclone, about the wind speed, about the risk over there. Always it is in 24 into 7 hours. Okay, so these are the 6 points that was at first it was in United States 2003 has articulated. Okay, then all the countries those are affected by disaster also accepted that articulate. Okay, then disaster management in mountainous region. Yesterday we had discussed disaster management in flood region, in valley region. Today we need to discuss disaster management in mountainous region. The Himalaya range is one of the highest mountain chains in the world. In the world, Himalayas, also known as the Extra Peninsula, are one of the three main geological divisions of India. The other two divisions are the Peninsula and the Indo-Gangetic Plains. Okay. Geographically, the Himalaya extend for about 2400 kilometers from western syntextial bend near Nanga Parbat to eastern synagexial bend near Himachal Barwa and exhibit in a curvilinear disposition. Okay, so it is around 2400 kilometer the total length of Himalaya, and it is varying from its range from bend near Nanga Parbat to eastern Sengestila bend near Narcha Barwa. Okay, so these are the names you need to remember. It may came to a question and you have to write the exact name and the spreading kilometer as well. Okay, the Himalayas are classified from west to east into four regions. As far as the Himalaya classification is concerned, from west to east, it is divided into four regions. Punjab Himalayan, one is Punjab Himalayan area between Indus and Sutlej rivers. Area between Indus and Sutlej rivers. Then Kuman Himalayan area between Sultej and Kali rivers. Nepal Himalayan, some portion of Nepal, maximum portion of Himalaya is also in Nepal side. Nepal, that region is known as Nepal Himalayan area between Kali and Tista rivers. Okay, Assam Himalayan, many parts of Himalayan also associated with Assam regions, known as area between Tista and Brahmaputra rivers. So these are the regions, and Himalaya is ranging from 2400 kilometers. Okay, ranging to 2400 kilometers. Presently, Himalayas are divided into three regions. Presently, in recent trends, Himalaya are divided into three regions: the western, central, and eastern Himalaya. Nepal Himalaya constitutes the central Himalaya, and the mountainous area to its west and east are known as western and eastern Himalaya respectively. Thus, the western Himalaya includes Punjab and Kuman Himalaya, covering Himachal Pradesh and parts of Jammu and Kashmir and Uttaranchal. Okay, the Uttaranchal Himalaya extends from Tons River in the west to Kali River in the east and covers an area of about 46,480 square kilometer. Okay, 46,480 square kilometer. Garhwal and Kumano are the two main regions of Uttaranchal Himalaya. Okay, major landforms of Uttaranchal Himalaya are arranged into three parallel ranges. Names are Great Himalayan, known as GH in short form, lies south of Tibetan Plateau and contains the highest elevations. Lesser Himalayan, known as LH in short form, lies south of uh, Great Himalayan and as elevations between 10,000 and 15,000 feet. Okay, Outer Himalaya OS in short form known as Outer Himalaya lies south of uh, Lesser Himalaya and borders Gangetic Plains. It is altitude varies between 2,000 and 3,000 feet and has demographic depression, the Don, known as the Don. Okay. Then let us discuss trends in disaster management. One of its component is preparedness. Okay, everything we have to discuss in phase wise. The first phase is preparedness. One of the many lessons learnt by victim of various natural disaster is that the aftermath of the disaster can be worse than the disaster event itself. Thus, there is a need to acknowledge the need for preparedness towards disaster reduction. However, people are often surprised by the concept of reducing disasters. How it is often asked, can a natural disaster such as an earthquake or a cyclone be reduced or prevented? If preparedness would be in a higher side, if the proper preparedness is taken care, then definitely the disaster like earthquake or a cyclone be prevented or reduced in a historical manner. Okay. Then let us discuss principles of mitigation and preparedness. So what are the principles of mitigation and preparedness? Everything there should be a principle. If we follow the principle of mitigation, then definitely that work should be mitigated in an effective manner. Like disaster mitigation and preparedness activities need to be carried out well in advance of any emergency and are driven by the following principles. So what are the principles? Let us discuss one by one. Risk assessment is a required step for the adoption of adequate and successful disaster reduction policies. Okay, risk assessment means before a disaster, risk assessment should be conducted. With the risk assessment, we will find out what are the risks associated with that particular disaster. Okay, so risk assessment must be a component of component or principle of mitigation of preparedness. Okay. Then disaster prevention and preparedness are of primary importance in reducing the need of disaster relief. Disaster prevention and preparedness are of primary importance. They are the most primary importance, minimum importance in reducing the need of disaster relief. If you want to relieve the disaster, then definitely prevention and preparedness should be your topmost or primary importance. Okay. Then disaster prevention and preparedness should be considered integral part of the developmental policy and planning and national, regional, bilateral, multilateral and international stage. Means if a disaster is declared as it is a global disaster, or the disaster may occur. For an example, if we consider a hurricane is coming which will hit India and Bangladesh, both the countries, then bilateral discussion should be conducted before the event in between Indian government and in between Indian government and Bangladesh government as well. Okay, that is known as bilateral discussion. If a disaster is happening which hits around only in Odisha level, or it may hit to Odisha and Bengal region, then definitely a regional discussion in between Odisha and West Bengal must be conducted in a effective manner, so that the every preventive measure should be taken in a proper and effective way. Preventive measures, early warning of impending disaster, and their effective dissemination using telecommunication are the key factors to successful prevention and preparedness. Okay, preventive measures are most effective when they involve participation at all levels, from the local community to national level to the regional and international level. Okay, then vulnerability can be reduced by the application of proper design and patterns of development focused on target groups through appropriate education and training. Okay, vulnerability analysis must be uh, conducted before any disaster, because these are the regions where the government or the discussion may fail all around, because if we are not planned vulnerability analysis, then definitely we will be in a trouble condition. Whenever a disaster is declared, it may hit in a region, or it may going to in a particular area, then definitely at that level or at that area, vulnerability analysis should be taken into consideration as a topmost priority thing. Okay, then the international community accepts the need to share necessary technology to prevent, reduce, and mitigate disasters, which should be made freely available and done in a timely manner as an integral part of technical cooperations. Okay, each country bears the primary responsibility of protecting its people, infrastructure, and other national assets from the impact of natural disaster. This is the topmost priority. Okay, then let us discuss international approach to disaster management. So, disaster is accepted as international level. It is declared that if a country is suffered in disaster, then definitely each and every country will be going to support that country, and it is a matter of international management of disaster as well. Okay, so international decades for natural disaster reduction, IDNDR. The short form is IDNDR, International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. It may came to your exam around 5 marks of question. What do you mean by IDNDR, and what are its criteria, what are its duties, and what are its responsibilities? Then these points may help you to answer the question. The answers are: the aim of IDNDR, means International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction, was that all countries should have comprehensive national assessments of risk for natural hazards, with these assessments taking into account their impact on development plans. Means every country there must be a national assessment of risk in every natural hazards. Means if every country must have to conduct a natural risk assessment, hazard assessment, with these assessments taking into account their impact on development plans. Means with that hazard assessment, they must have to provide the control measures, what are the criteria, how to mitigate the disaster. Everything should be in a planned manner. Okay, and it is in a government notification as well. Mitigation plans at national or local levels involving long-term prevention and preparedness and community awareness. Okay, ready access to global, regional, national, and local warnings systems and widespread dissemination of such warning. Okay, so these are the criteria that every country has to be taken care. Okay, then let us discuss disaster preparedness in India. So we have discussed international approach to disaster management, IDNDR, International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction. Then Now let us discuss disaster preparedness in India. What are the preparedness that Indian government has taken care of? Let us discuss about that. Okay. India, as per the status report of Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India in 2004, 8 battalion of central paramilitary forces would be developed as specialist response teams equipped with modern hardware and trained in the use of the same. They would have the capability to handle any kind of emergency in any situation. It is also proposed to group them together as National Emergency Response Force, or nowadays the name has changed to National Emergency Response Force to National Disaster Response Force, NDRF. Earlier it was NERF, National Emergency Response Force, but nowadays it has been treated as National Disaster Response Force. It came on force after 2000 December 2005, when there is a after 2000 December 2005. And if you are a Odia person and you are belonging from Odisha, then definitely it is a proud moment for all of us that Odisha is the oldest state who made its stain of disaster management team known as Odisha Disaster Rapid Action Force in 2002. After 1999 super cyclone, the devastating impact which was Odisha faced at that time. Then after in 2000, there in Odisha Assembly, a resolution was passed to prepare OSDMA, to form OSDMA. OSDMA was formed after super cyclone 29th October 1999, and it came into force in 2002 after a resolution passed by our legislative assembly Odisha in 2000. Okay, so Odisha is the oldest organization who had made Odisha Disaster Rapid Action Force as compared to National Disaster Response Force. So we are the oldest organization who is handling disaster in such a way that we are now a icon for every states. And also due to Odisha Disaster Rapid Action Force or Odisha State Disaster Management Authority, our Chief Minister, Mr. Naveen Patnaik, uh, um, had get a award of Best Disaster Reduction or Disaster Management Chief Minister in Odisha, and he had received the award in United, I think, United States. Okay. All personnel of Central Paramilitary Forces would also be trained in search and rescue so that nearby battalions can be deployed before the army takes over. To that end, their training curriculum would be updated, modified. Okay, so state all the forces of NDRF, National Disaster Response Force, are very much trained in search and rescue activities. Means when a building collapsed, they know the techniques how to search, how to do recovery, how to do rescue operations. All these things have been trained, have been given training given to them, and they are very much particular about that. Okay, states have been asked to set up their own specialist. India, what preparedness India is doing? India government advised every states have been asked to set up their own specialist team. 10% of the allocation from the CRF shall be committed to logistics for these search and rescue teams. SAR, search and rescue. Training would be provided in search and rescue to state armed police. Maharashtra, Odisha, Gujarat, and Delhi had made the arrangements in this regard till August 2004. Regional response centers would be set up across the country. Regional response centers, RRC, regional response centers would be set up across the country. Relief supplies and other needed equipment would be kept in these centers. Specialist response teams would be stationed during crisis. Specialist response teams. What are the specialist response teams? Means in Odisha it is ODRAF, in center it is NDRF, in local level it is fire. All these things. Okay. Mobile hospitals would be provided attached to different hospitals in the country. Mobile hospitals would be provided attached to different hospitals in the country. Means mobile hospitals have each and every facilities. Means the first aid measures should be given at the vehicle only. Okay, different hospital in the country. These will reach the site of the disaster during crisis. Means in every hospital some mobile hospital facilities have been provided, and during a crisis they are they will reach at that particular place and they will rescue and they will give treatment accordingly. Okay, hospital preparedness to deal with disaster would be improved. Medicos means medical personnel would be given training and the subject would be included in the undergraduate curriculum for medicos. Okay, means system have been implemented already. Hospital, these are the things that India government have already taken into force, already implemented all these things. Hospital preparedness to deal with disaster would be improved. Medicos would be given training and the subject would be included in the undergraduate curriculum formatics. Incident command system, ICS, incident command system would be developed. The Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, okay, Missouri, has the honors to develop capacity in this regard. The minimized response time, concerned departments would be asked to prepare preparedness plan by way of emergency support plans in advance. They have been asked to constitute response teams and allocate resources in advance for disaster response. States have been asked to arrange for pre-contracts of relief items to avoid delays in procuring relief. India Disaster Response Network would be set up, which would be a web database of inventory and controlling officers in charge of items. The database will be available at state, district, and national level. The database is available in all over the states and national level as well. States are being assisted with emergency operations centers, schemes at state and district centers. Financial assistance would be provided under GOI UNDP scheme and modernization of a police force scheme. These would be composite control rooms to look after law and order and disaster management issues. Preparedness planning is a sequential and continuous process. Good planning requires correct diagnosis, resource evaluation, and feedback of policy implementation. Because of the wide scope of disaster preparedness and the numerous actors involved, it is essential that a framework for coordination is accepted and provided for. Following awareness of the same, the Government of India proposed to affect the shift from short-term relief to long-term mitigation, preparedness, and prevention through through institutional changes, policy mainstreaming mitigation into development process. Okay, funding mechanism, specific schemes addressing mitigation, preparedness measures, capacity building, human resource development, HRD, and above all, community participation. Community participation is the topmost priority. Unless until the communities participated in disaster management, no disaster plan would be work in a effective manner. Okay, so community participation or community resilience must be there while you are planning to mitigate disaster, to management disaster, all management disaster. Okay, so let us discuss about hazard mapping for disaster prevention. Hazard mapping, what it means? I already explained what is hazard mapping. Mapping means we have to we have to map it, we have to count it, we have to volumize it. So then only the disaster prevention can be done. Okay, so let us discuss about the hazards, then we'll discuss the event parameters, then we'll discuss the site parameters. What are the natural hazards? Natural hazards are considered, let us, flood. Flood, area flooded kilometer square, means when we consider disaster as a flood, then we need to evaluate the area matlab flooded area in kilometer square, volume of water, how much volume of water may come, and how what is the area that it may cover. We need to calculate that, so that side parameter, depth of water meters, what is the highest depth of water in that area, it should be also analyzed, or it should be also measured. Okay, or emphasized. Earthquake, if we consider natural hazard like earthquake, then energy release in magnitude, I have already told the energy in magnitude is known, is measured in Richter scale, which is symbolized from 0 to 12. Already I have explained about it in yesterday. Okay, intensity of ground shaking, how much intensity of ground shaking it will occur, after knowing the magnitude, then only we will evaluate, or we will calculate the shaking of earth. Okay, then only we will act accordingly. Okay, then let us discuss volcanoes. Volcano eruption size and duration. You may have know what is volcanoes. Volcanoes are a in volcanoes, the lavas are releasing in continuous manner, and while we are considering volcanoes, eruption size is a uh, main factor. We need to know the size of eruption in what are the eruption size. If we consider that, then we will give some control measures to that. Unless until we have no idea about the size of eruption, then we are not able to provide control measures. Okay, and duration, how much time, and what how for how long it will be in a eruptic manner. If we calculate that, then only we may control over there. Unless until we have not. Okay, potential to be affected by ash coverage, lava, dust, fallouts, debris flow, like that. So if we calculate the eruption size and the duration, then only the control measures may be provided. Strong winds, if winds are coming in a stronger way, then what are the calculation? Wind velocity, मतलब किलोमीटर पर आवर कितना स्पीड से वो आ सकता है, उसको आफ्टर कैलकुलेटिंग दैट we will find out the dispersing effect of that wind. Unless until we won't. Landslides, so what it means, landslides, when we consider landslides, volume of material dislodged, मतलब what is the volume of the landslides. If we calculate, or if we will measure the volume, then only we can give some mitigational strategies. Unless until it won't be. Potential for ground failure, ground displacement. If the volume is in a bigger size, if the volume is in a large size, then potential of ground displacement may occur. Unless until if it is in a small size, then only the landslides would be treated as a very minimum disaster, or very short-term disaster. Okay. Then tsunami, height of wave cost. In tsunami, what matters? Wave matters. How much height the wave consist, that matters only. Okay, depth of flood meters means if the wave is bigger, then definitely the coastal regions may be covered with floods. Okay, then drought, area affected in kilometer square. When we are considering the natural disaster drought, then definitely how much area it is covered, it should be in kilometer square. And rainfall deficit, how much rainfall was deficited in mm. Okay, then only we will prevent disaster after the mapping of hazard. Okay, then let us discuss challenges for South Asia. So we have already discussed the global parameter of disaster. We have already discussed the what are the preparedness that Indian government has taken care. Then let us discuss the challenges for South Asia. What are the challenges for South Asia to mitigate disasters? Okay, so it has also divided into some goals and objectives. Okay, so what are the goals? Increase public awareness. The topmost goal is increase public awareness of the risk that natural, technological, and environmental hazards pose to modern societies. Obtain commitment by public authorities to reduce risks to people, their livelihood, and social and economic infrastructure and environmental resources. Engage public participation at all levels of implementation to create disaster resistance communities through increased partnership and expanded risk reduction networks at all levels. Reduce the economic and social losses of disaster as measured, for example, by gross domestic products. Okay. Then what are the objectives? Link risk prevention and economic competitiveness issues to enhance opportunities for greater economic partnership. Complete comprehensive risk assessment and integrate them with development plans. Develop and apply risk reduction strategies and mitigation measures with supporting arrangements and resources for disaster prevention at all levels of activity. Identify and engage designated authorities. We have to identify and engage designated authorities only, professionals drawn from the widest possible range of expertise and community leaders to develop increased partnership activity. Link risk prevention and economic competitiveness issues to enhance opportunities for greater economic partnership. Complete comprehensive risk assessment and integrate them with development plans. Develop and apply risk reduction strategies and mitigation measures with supporting arrangements and resources for disaster prevention at all levels of activity. Identify and engage designated authorities. Already it was told, professionals drawn from the widest possible range of expertise and community leaders to develop increased partnership activity. Establish risk monitoring capabilities and early warning systems as integrated processes with particular attention to emerging hazards with global implications such as those related to climate variations and change at all levels of responsibility. Develop sustained programs of public information and institutionalized educational components pertaining to hazards and their effects, risk management practices, and disaster prevention activities for all ages. Establish internationally and professionally agreed standards, methodologies for the analysis and expression of the socio-economic impacts of disasters on societies. Seek innovative funding mechanisms dedicated to sustained risk and disaster prevention activities. Okay, so we need to take a 5 minutes break. Then only we will discuss after the break resource analysis. What are the resource? We will analysis about that. So let us have a 5 minutes break. We will come back by 6:25. Okay. Hello, Bhavana and Vijay Lakshmi.
Yes, sir.
My voice is clear to you. I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So let us come back after 5 minutes break. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we can start. Vijay Lakshmi, Bhavana.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we can start now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So now we will discuss resource analysis. What do you mean by resource? Resource means by the help of which the disaster would be managed in a efficient and in a proper manner is known as resources. Okay, resource analysis, we need to analyze the resources. Means if a disaster occurs, then what are the resources that we would take assistance of those, how we will manage. By calculating the resources, we will manage the disaster in an effective and efficient manner. Resource analysis forms the logical base for planning, mobilizing and utilizing resources. For all organizations, government or otherwise, the following checklist from the source book of an district disaster management. Disaster management, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India and Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Missouri can aid resource analysis efforts in organizations are as follows. Means who coordinates resources within each organization. मतलब who is the person who is going to coordinate within the organization, it should be identified before the disaster. Who is responsible for supplying resources beyond the normal capabilities of each organization? Who records the cost of resources? Have arrangements been made with state or military organization for assistance in times of emergency? Is there agreed access to emergency funds? Who records the expenditure for further repayment? What are the limits of expenditure for personnel? Unskilled volunteers can safely perform what tasks? Who coordinates this work? It is likely that some organizations will begin public appeals for donation for emergency affected persons. How can these appeals be coordinated? So these are the how does equitable disbursement of appeal money to be ensured? Who coordinates the requests for assistance for the community? What sort of assistance is likely to be required? Where is this assistance likely to come from? Is there an expected form that the request should take? Is the following information available to help outside assistance? List of organizations working in the country with information on their competence and capability to be involved in emergency response and recovery activities. Is the following information available? List of essential response and recovery items with specifications of average cost and availability. List of local manufacturers and regional manufacturers and suppliers of response and recovery items with information on quality, capacity and capability regarding delivery items and reliability. Information on essential response and recovery resources that will allow a rapid response. For example, water supply system, sanitation system, health network, alternative shelter sites, and materials, tarpaulins, tents, ports, and transport networks. What it means resource analysis means. So resource analysis means before the disaster. Before the disaster, we need to calculate our resources. Means if the disaster will aggravate in a greater manner, or if let us take an example. If Odisha is affected by flood, okay, The many districts of Odisha in coastal districts are affected by flood, and it may maximum duration of a flood is 7 to 10 days. Okay, sometimes it is go on lingering, means up to 15 days. Okay, so a it is the topmost priority of the administration to provide all the supports to the victims or to the trapped persons or to the flood areas. Okay, so they are planned for 10 days. Okay, sometimes due to heavy rain, the disaster may linger to up to 15 days to 20 days. Okay, I have experienced it many times because I was a disaster I was working in a disaster management team since last 20 for last 21 years, and I have experienced this in my own I have some own experience of mine. We had a plan for a 7 to 10 days stay in flood areas, but sometimes due to heavy rain it extended up to 15 days to 20 days. Okay, then what will be the roast condition? You can't imagine unless until you will be a victim over there. Okay, because the food will go on decreasing, the stationary items also go on decreasing, the daily requirements, the daily basis items go on decreasing, and many people are suffering in birds, many people are suffering diarrhea, many people are suffering in fever, many degenerate many medical issues are coming up over the that regions. And these are the issues that administration is the only authority to handle all those things in a pertinent way. Okay, so before the disaster we need to identify who are the material material stores can provide materials to us for a longer period of time, for almost 15 days, 20 days, up to 1 month. We need to we need to seize the godams, because many people in the disaster timing, many people black marketed everything. Okay, and sometimes you will experience it that you would be experienced it that many times the potato rate go on in a higher range, means before disaster it would be in 12 rupees or 15 rupees, but during disaster time the cost of 1 kg of potato will go on around 50 rupees, 70 rupees, 80 rupees, like that. Okay, so we need to take actions strictly by the district administration. Unless until if we are not taking strict actions, then panic situation will create over there, and many people may face a lot of problems at that scenarios. Okay, then let us discuss mitigation measures. Okay, so these are the resource analysis, and now discuss mitigation measures. How will mitigate a disaster? Okay, once decisions have been made concerning priorities, the resources to be allocated to mitigate measures to protect vulnerable populations and infrastructure can be identified. Depending on their purpose, mitigation measures can be categorized as being either structural or non-structural in nature. I think you all know what is a structural and what is a non-structural. Okay. So let us discuss non-structural mitigation. Non-structural mitigation measures relate to those activity and decision-making systems which provide the context within which disaster management and planning operates and is organized. They include measures such as training and education, public education, evacuation planning, institution building, warning systems. Okay, then what is structural mitigation? However, efficient non-structural mitigation measures may be, they need to be complemented by structural measures for risk reduction to both engineered and non-engineered structures. These include constructing or retrofitting buildings and infrastructure to suitable safety levels, using suitable materials, and the incorporation of proper workmanship under correct supervision. Non-engineered structures are those built by their owners or by builders lacking formal trainings. Means in structural mitigation, in structural buildings, we are little bit in safer side, because the it is in a engineering manner, and the it has been made by a proper plan. The building, the construction was made by a proper plan, so less hazard is associated with structural buildings. Okay, as far as non-structural building is concerned, it is little bit less safer as compared to structural buildings. Okay, a typical structural measure is an earthquake resistant building. Means a structural building, whenever we are taking a plan from a architecture or for a from a civil engineer or from a experienced engineer, he always planned that our building should be prevented from earthquake. Means when earthquake occurs, our building may bend down, but it should not collapse all of a sudden. That is the difference in between structural building and in between and non-structural building. Non-structural building, generally when earthquake occurs, it collapsed all of sudden. But in case of structural building, the it takes time. It should not collapse. It may bend one sided, bend to south side, bend to north side, bend to another side, but it will not be in collapsed. It will not in collapsed structure. Okay, so that is the main difference in between structural and non-structural building construction. Both structural and non-structural mitigation measures may be termed either passive or active. Active measures are those which rely on providing incentives for disaster reduction. They are often more effective than passive measures based in restrictive laws and controls. For example, while courts and land use planning may provide a legal context for mitigation, these tend to be ineffective rigorously uh, unless rigorously enforced. Instead, measures which provide incentives such as government grants or subsides a leasing of insurance. Okay, premium for safer construction provisions of technical advice provides a framework for more suitable mitigations. Okay, so whenever as Odisha is a earthquake prone area, Odisha is a flood prone area. Odisha is very suitable to cyclones. We need to construct our building in a structural manner. We need to construct our building with the proper guidance of a civil engineer, with the proper architectural plans. Okay, then only we will be in a safer side. Okay, so when we are constructing from now onwards, you people are aware what is the difference between structural building and what is the difference in between um, non-structural building. So whenever a building is constructed, it should be in a structural manner. Okay, then let us discuss examples of mitigation measures. Okay, mitigation involves implementing long-term risk reduction measures. Measures range from large-scale flood protection measures, for example Bangladesh and China, to income generation programs, diversifying livelihoods, grain stores, etc., to tackle socio-economic vulnerabilities. For the purpose of illustration, some simple example of mitigation measures are as follows: strengthening buildings to render them more resistant against cyclones, floods, or earthquakes; the incorporation of hazard resistance in structures or procedures to be followed in new development projects; planning certain kinds of varieties of crops that are less affected by specific kinds of disasters; changing crop cycle so that crops mature and are harvested before the onset of the flood or cyclone season; the adoption of land use planning and controls to restrict activities in high risk areas; economic diversification to allow losses in one sector to be offset by increased output in other sectors. Okay, these approaches can be categorized as development projects, but can serve more than one developmental aim if planned accordingly. Other intervention areas which address disaster mitigation include policy concerning land regulations, low income housing schemes, environmental regulations, national grain security policies, etc. Training involving policymakers, NGO staffs, etc. Identification of vulnerable groups, public awareness amongst community members, civic group, retailers, etc. Information system for monitoring, documentation, disseminations. Education in discipline in construction, architecture, urban planning, agriculture, etc. Integrate local disaster management plan with technical and planning principles. So these are the parameters. Okay, end of the session we will conclude it in a shorter manner, and I will give you a lesson about the lightening measures. Okay, so be prepared for that. I will give a lesson at the end of the class. Okay, before some time. Contribution of United Nations agencies in disaster management. So as you know, United Nations are developed countries. Okay, so already they have faced many disasters, they have faced many floods, they had faced many cyclones, tornadoes, all those things. Okay, so they have contribution, they have contributed a lot towards the society. Okay, so let us discuss the contribution of United Nations agencies in disaster management, how they contribute and what are their roles and responsibilities. Minimum 5 to 10 marks of questions will come from this topic only. Okay, so take it in a serious note. Okay, the significance of international cooperation in disaster mitigation could not be understood. Disasters known to national boundaries and cannot be pre-warned on most occasions. Concerted efforts along could save the devastation wrought by the fury of natural disasters. Okay, international cooperation is needed in technical dissemination regarding hazard control technology, sharing of warning information, common craft of strategy, telling that works and what does not, which help other countries facing similar subsequent events. For example, flood preparedness in Bangladesh would benefit a far off land like Brazil. Solely through through information sharing, the United Nations coordinates efforts in this regard. It has organized United Nations Disaster Management Teams, UNDMT, noted down UNDMT, United Nations Disaster Management Teams in each country to act as support system to national government during times of crisis. United Nations assistance extends from post-disaster rehabilitation and relief to disaster preparedness and mitigation planning, that is involving all activities in the disaster management cycle. Okay, nature of contribution is advising governments, mobilizing technical and material resources as per mandate, and cooperate with United Nations resident representative or any other coordination mechanism in place. The following United Nations agencies are involved in the following ways. So let us discuss what are the UN agencies and what are their roles and responsibilities. Okay, United Nations Disaster Relief Organization, UNDRO. Note it down. UNDRO, United Nations Disaster Relief Organization, promotes study. What it does? It promotes study of risk and their reduction, as well as information dissemination, or sorry, to promote disaster management and planning. It is entitled to utilize up to 50,000 uh, 50,000 following requests of assistance from the government and approval of the same by the UNDRO coordinates. Okay, then at same United Nations Development Program, UNDP, UNDRO, UNDP. Okay, then FAOB, Food and Agriculture Organizations. So this is a organization also act as like as UNDP and
Sir, UNDRO full from United Nations Development.
यूनाइटेड नेशन डिजास्टर, यूनाइटेड
D.
नेशन डिजास्टर रिलीफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, यूनाइटेड नेशंस डिजास्टर रिलीफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. गॉट इट? भावना,
Yes, sir.
गॉट इट? हाँ. देन यूएनडीपी, यूनाइटेड नेशन डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम. Okay, note it down because it must 5 mark of question or 10 mark of a question will come from this chapter only. Okay. Then FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, focuses on agriculture only, livestock, fisheries and local food productions. Okay, FAO. World Food Programs, WFP. Okay, sometimes 2 mark question also came from this. Okay, WFP, World Food Program. Then all of you know WHO, World Health Organization, helps and advise in all aspects of preventive and curative health care, including the preparedness of health service for rapid disaster response. Okay. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner फॉर रिफ्यूजीज मीन्स जो दूसरा देश से आके उनका देश में बैठ गए हैं, उनके लिए भी एक पॉलिसी है. 6 ड्यूरेबल सॉल्यूशन फॉर प्रॉब्लम ऑफ रिफ्यूजीज एंड 6 टू असिस्ट देम इन द कंट्री ऑफ, उनका कंट्री में आके जो बैठ गए हैं उनको ये प्रोग्राम की तरह उन लोग को हेल्प किया जाता है. ओके. Then United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations, contribute to the duty of geological and hydrometeorological agencies in particular, besides assessing and mitigating risk from natural hazard in general. If you wrote the full form of the short forms, then you will get easily 1 or 2 marks. Okay. United Nations Center for Human Habitation, UNHCS, United Nations Center for Human Habitations. So Bhavna and Baijanti, if you are serious to learn disaster management chapter, then please note it down all the short forms. Okay, open your book and note down the short forms. Definitely, you will cover almost 10 to 15 marks. If you memorize the short forms, then definitely you will wrote it down around 10 to 15 marks of questions. Okay. Easily you can answer all of these. Okay, got it? Bhavana?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay, okay. Then United Nations Center for Human Habitation, UNHCS, okay, promotes what it does. It promotes incorporation of natural disaster mitigation concepts in urban planning and management. It attempts to develop innovative methodologies for hazard and vulnerability analysis. Okay. Then UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNI UNICEF, assist in child health and nutrition, especially in disaster prone areas. Many times this organization helps Odisha as well. Okay, in disaster time, UNICEF, you will find आपको पता ही होगा कभी अगर डिजास्टर होता है तो ये जो संस्था है ये चाइल्ड हेल्थ का, जो माल न्यूट्रिशन लोग होते हैं, जो माल न्यूट्रिशन के छोटे छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, उनको प्रमोट करता है. उनका खाना का पैसा ये सब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को प्रोवाइड करता है, ताकि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ये प्राइस को लेके उस एरिया में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करता है एज ए फूड, शेल्टर एंड ऑल द, ये सारा चीज में उस सबको खर्चा करता है. ओके. Then let us discuss concept of community based disaster management, CBDM. Note it down. Concept of community based disaster management. A typical theory paper is this. Okay. So you have to इसको पूरा रट लेना है. ओके. थोड़ा मतलब चाहे समझ में आए या ना आए, ऐसे ही उसको थोड़ा समझ लेना है। ओके, द टर्म कम्युनिटी बेस्ड डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड सीबीडीएम, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट. Community, it relates to a community. Disaster management, whenever we are planning to manage the disaster in community level to our the people in community level, then CBDM will came into force. Okay, so CBDM received attention in the development field in the 1980s. Although community-based disaster initiatives were already ongoing in different parts of the world in formal or informal ways. Though CBDM has been a popular term in the last several years, in very few cases, it has been incorporated into government policy. It has been common notice that CBDM is the responsibility of gases, root organizations, and of NGOs or NGOs. There are two major aspects in the regard. First is the best practice of CBDMA initiatives remain local initiatives and are not mm, are not properly disseminated. It was observed that even though there have been good example of CBDM in specific locations within a society, those lessons are not transferred to other parts of the country. Neither do they reach the adjacent countries of the region. Second, due to lack of recognition of CBDM initiatives at the national level, there are often limited resources devoted to these activities. Thus, in most areas, CBDM, community based disaster management, is considered in isolation from national disaster management activities. It is also not included in the national development policies. Therefore, there is an increasing need to understand the basics of community based disaster management and try to formulate a framework for incorporating community based disaster management into national policy issues with special focus on sustainability. Okay, the Great Hansin Awaji earthquake of 1995 hit the city of Kobe and other parts of Hyogo uh, prefecture in Japan, causing serious loss of life and property. Immediately after the earthquake, the neighbors and relatives rescued many people from the debris. Okay, statistics show that 85% of the people were either self-evacuated or were rescued by neighbors. This indicates the importance of community and neighborhood immediately after such an event. What it means, we need to provide community-based disaster management programs in a greater manner, because as getting a lesson from the earthquake in 1995 city of Kobe, many people have been rescued or self-rescued. 85%, almost 85% of people were either self-evacuated or rescued by neighbors. So think about that. If we educate the community, then definitely our responsibility at the time of disaster will be in a lesser side. Okay, so if we educate more in community level, if we give focus on community level regarding disaster management, regarding disaster preparedness, regarding training, regarding emergency evacuation plans, then only we will be in a safer side, more safer side. Okay. Okay, so requirements in CBDM, community based disaster management. Okay, so what are the requirements? Exercise in first aid, how to extricate, give first aid to and transport injured persons. So community based को हम कैसे बढ़ावा देंगे, क्या क्या एजुकेशन उनको देंगे, मैं आपको बोल देता हूँ ये पॉइंट्स को छोड़ के। ओके, अब सुन लीजिए। तो क्या करेंगे, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड को जब हम एजुकेट करेंगे, डिजास्टर क्या होता है पहले उनको पता होना चाहिए। जब उनको ये पता हो जाएगा कि व्हाट इज डिजास्टर, देन कौन सा डिजास्टर के लिए वो क्या क्या प्रिपेयरनेस करेंगे, उसके बारे में हम उनको बता देंगे। तो द टॉप मोस्ट प्रायोरिटी क्या होता है एट दैट टाइम कि कोई किसी का कोई विक्टिम बन जाता है। जब कोई विक्टिम बन जाता है तो उसको पहला क्या होता है, उसको मोरल सपोर्ट देना पड़ता है। तो मोरली एक विक्टिम को क्या क्या हम बोलेंगे उस टाइम, एट द टाइम ऑफ डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस, एट द टाइम ऑफ नेसेसिटी, एट द टाइम ऑफ डिजास्टर, वो उनको जब हम ट्रेंड करेंगे, ट्रेनिंग के दौरान हम उनको बताएंगे कि वो अभी प्रॉब्लम में है तो उसको काउंसिल करके वहां से आप निकाल सकते हो। ये पहला चीज है। द मोस्ट वाइटल पार्ट इज काउंसिलिंग, ओके, मोटिवेशन। ओके, मान लीजिए कि कोई लोग जो है, और कोई किसका पिता है, किसका माता जी है, किसका बेटा है, किसका बेटी है, जो डिजास्टर में उनको प्रॉब्लम हो गया है, उनका घर से कोई लापता हो गया है, नहीं मिल रहा है, तो उनको उस टाइम क्या चाहिए, सबसे बड़ा चीज चाहिए मोरल सपोर्ट। ओके, so provide sufficient moral support to them. Okay, then इवाकुएशन प्लान। उस एरिया में मान लीजिए कि वो लो रीजन है, लो रेंज एरिया है और कोस्टल बेल्ट है, मान लीजिए कि फ्लड का संभावना वहां पे ज्यादा है। ओके, तो फ्लड जब आएगा तो क्या करेंगे, बहुत सारे लोग जो होंगे घर में अपना प्रॉपर्टी को छोड़ के गवर्नमेंट के साथ कोऑपरेट करने के लिए नहीं जाएंगे। ये मैं एक्सपीरियंस किया हूँ। ये एक खुर्दा खुर्दा के पास एक जगह है, उसका नाम है उसका नाम है नारायणगढ़। नारायणगढ़ पंचायत में कुछ एरिया इलाका आते हैं, आता है। उस एरिया में क्या होता है, जब फ्लड की टाइम में वो पूरा वाटर लगिंग कंडीशन में आ जाता है। ओके, तो जैसे ही वाटर लगिंग कंडीशन में आ जाता है तो लोग क्या करते हैं, अपना घर छोड़ के जाने को राजी नहीं होते हैं। तो अगर मान लीजिए 3 4 दिन 5 दिन तक तो ठीक है, अदरवाइज उससे ज्यादा अगर रहता है तो वहां पे हेल्थ इशू बिगड़ने लगता है, बहुत सारा प्रॉब्लम होने को जा रहा है। तो इसे होने का चांसेस है। तो वहां पे उनको मोरल सपोर्ट देते हुए, उनको समझाते हुए हम उनको वहां से इवाकुएट करना पड़ेगा। ओके, मान लीजिए कि किसी एरिया में अर्थक्वेक हुआ है, वहां पे कोई फैमिली को कुछ चोट लगा है, कोई फैमिली वो डेब्रिस के अंदर नीचे दब गया है, तो आप वहां पे उनको फास्ट एड मेजर्स देना पड़ेगा, उनको इवाकुएशन करना पड़ेगा। तो कम्युनिटी बेस्ड में हमारा जो नेशनल डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फोर्स है, या उड़ीसा उड़ीसा डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फोर्स है, या ओएसडीए में है, उड़ीसा स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट अथॉरिटी है, वो लोग क्या करते हैं आज का डेट में, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट प्लान उन लोग के पास तैयार रहता है। अभी वो क्या करते हैं, कम्युनिटी लेवल में जाके हर एक शेल्टर सेंटर में एक कम्युनिटी बेस्ड को लेके फर्स्ट एड का ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं, इवाकुएशन का ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं, रास्ते में कैसे रेस्क्यू किया जाता है, कॉन्टैक्ट रेस्क्यू और नॉन कॉन्टैक्ट रेस्क्यू के बारे में बताते हैं। तो ट्रेनिंग्स उनको देते हैं, कैसे इवाकुएशन करना, कैसे एक एक आदमी एक दूसरा विक्टिम को कैसे वहां से इवाकुएट करके लेके जाएगा, क्या क्या टेक्निक्स फॉलो करेगा, क्या क्या प्रोसीजर फॉलो करेगा, ये सब उनको ट्रेनिंग देने के बाद वो लोग अभी एक उनका मतलब अभी उनको उनका नॉलेज थोड़ा हाई मतलब हाइक हुआ है। जैसे कि मान लीजिए कोई रेस्क्यू टीम उनके पास पहुंच गया, तो रेस्क्यू टीम तो जाते हैं 10 15 12 ऐसा करके लोग जाते हैं, लेकिन वहां पे जब कुछ ट्रेनिंग्स दे के कुछ कम्युनिटी बेस्ड में लोग होंगे तो डेफिनेटली उनका कम्युनिटी को हेल्प करने के लिए वो रेस्क्यू टीम को हेल्प करते हैं। ये एक स्प्रेडिंग हैंड होने की वजह से उनको क्या ज्यादा नॉलेज होता है अपना एरिया के बारे में। मान लीजिए फ्लड एरिया में फ्लड एरिया में मान लीजिए कि हमारा जो नेशनल डिजास्टर रिस्पांस फोर्स है वो आके वहां पे रेस्क्यू का काम कर रहे हैं। अगर मान लीजिए कम्युनिटी बेस्ड में कुछ लोग उनके साथ मिल गए, ओके, इससे अच्छा चीज क्या होगा उसका, व्हाट आर द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ इट, बिकॉज द कम्युनिटी पीपुल नो द एरिया, कहाँ पे कुआ है, कहाँ पे नाला है, कहाँ पे रोड है, कहाँ पे झाड़ियां है, कहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम है, उनको सब पता है। तो उन लोग को क्या करते हैं, जब वो सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू में निकलते हैं या उनको रिलीफ देने के लिए निकलते हैं, तो वो लोग क्या करते हैं, उनका एक कम्युनिटी बेस्ड आदमी को, कम्युनिटी का लोग को बैठा लेते हैं। उससे क्या होता है, उनका पहला क्या चीज होता है, तो उनका वो जो बिलीवनेस है उनके ऊपर ज्यादा बिलीव आ जाता है, क्योंकि उनका एक बंदा हमारे साथ है। ओके, तो वो होता है। दूसरा चीज क्या होता है, उनको पूरा मैप के बारे में पता चल जाता है, कहाँ पे जाना है, कहाँ पे ज्यादा वाटर का फ्लो रहेगा, कहाँ से कम रहेगा, कौन सा पेड़ मतलब सेफ रहेगा, कहाँ पे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होने का चांस है, कहाँ पे झाड़ियां ज्यादा मिलेंगे, ये सारा चीज उनसे कलेक्टिवली डाटा मिल जाता है। इससे अच्छा होता है रेस्क्यूअर्स जो जाते हैं, जो हेल्प हेल्प करने के लिए उस एरिया में जाते हैं, वो लोग वहां पे काम करने के लिए उनको आसान हो जाता है। ओके, गॉट इट
Yes,
Bhavan?
sir.
Got it? Huh. These are the points which has been noted over here. Okay. Then in the next class, the most vital class, tomorrow we will discuss search, rescue and evacuation. Okay, हम एक एरिया में कैसे सर्च करेंगे, रेस्क्यू का टेक्निक क्या क्या अपनाएंगे, इवैक्यूएशन क्या होता है, सर्च क्या होता है, रेस्क्यू क्या होता है, रिकवरी क्या होता है, इसके बारे में विल डिस्कस इन द टुमारोज क्लास. ओके, सो यहां तक किसी का कोई सवाल है क्या, आप पूछ सकते हो. भावना?
No, no, sir.
नो. सो आज हम थोड़ा डिस्कशन करेंगे एक टॉपिक के ऊपर जो मैं आप लोग के लिए लेके आया हूं. बहुत कम लोग हैं अभी क्लास में, फिर भी हम डिस्कशन करेंगे. ये आपको थोड़ा नॉलेज गेन करेगा आप लोग का. ओके, तो करें उसके बारे में डिस्कशंस.
Yes, sir.
ओके, आधा घंटा हम डिस्कशन करेंगे. ये जो अवेयरनेस है, आप अपना फैमिली को दीजिए, अपना कम्युनिटी को दीजिए, डेफिनेटली आपका एक नॉलेज गेन करेगा. ओके, सो अभी चलो हम डिस्कशन करते हैं. एक टॉपिक मैं शेयर करता हूं उसको. वो है, हाँ, ओके. अभी हम डिस्कशन करेंगे लाइटनिंग एंड थंडरस्टॉर्म सेफ्टी. ओके, लाइटनिंग एंड थंडरस्टॉर्म सेफ्टी. ओके, तो आप लोग को पता है कि लाइटनिंग क्या है करके?
Yes, sir.
बताओ, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय लाइटनिंग?
घड़ी.
घड़ाघड़ी नहीं, थंडरस्टॉर्म. घड़ाघड़ी का मतलब है थंडरस्टॉर्म,
बिजली.
bijulia. Lightning means bijuli. Okay, so in the whole class we'll discuss about lightning and thunderstorm. Okay, so upon completion of this lesson, you all will be know about the science of lightning, little known lightning facts, lightning safety, what to do before, during and after lightning, pet safety, lightning strikes injuries, all etc. Okay,
Yes, sir.
then let
Sir,
us
we
know.
read about it in class 8.
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके. सो टेल मी इट इज गुड. क्या क्या जाने हो बताओ.
सर, लाइटनिंग होती है जब जो प्लस चार्ज और माइनस चार्ज टकराते हैं तब लाइटनिंग होती है. बाद में एयर की प्रेशर की वजह से यार्ड्स पर प्लस चार्ज हो जाती है और बादलों में माइनस चार्ज हो जाती है. तो उनकी कंडीशन ये है कि माइनस चार्ज प्लस चार्ज की तरफ अट्रैक्ट होंगे, तो उस तरफ अट्रैक्ट होते हैं, इसलिए थंडर स्ट्रोक होता है.
हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, अच्छा है. हाँ, ये तो ठीक है, दिस इज द साइंस. हाँ, बट दिस इज द साइंस. ओके, तो आपने जो बोला, दिस इज ऑल अबाउट साइंस. ओके, सो विल डिस्कस व्हाट टू डू, व्हाट नॉट टू डू, एंड एट द टाइम ऑफ लाइटनिंग. ओके, विल डिस्कस अबाउट दैट ओनली. ओके, भाईजंदी,
सर, विजय लक्ष्मी.
सॉरी विजय लक्ष्मी. ओके, got my point.
यस सर.
Okay, so let us discuss the science of lightning. All thunderstorms contain lightning, can strike the ground and ground-based objects within the thunderstorm's cloud from one thunderstorm to another or into the atmosphere. Okay, thunderstorms are most likely to develop on warm springs or summer days, but they can occur any time of the year. Okay, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ थंडरस्टॉर्म जो अभी विजय लक्ष्मी बोल रही थी, दिस इज द फोटोग्राफ. देखो, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ थंडर कैसे वो डेवलप होता है. पॉकेट्स ऑफ एयर राइज इनटू द एटमॉस्फेयर आइदर.
हो गया भाई. This is a wonder.
हेलो हेलो, कुछ बोलना चाह रहा है क्या कोई? ठीक है, ओके ओके ओके. देन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ थंडरस्टॉर्म. थंडरस्टॉर्म कैसे
अरे
डेवलप
बात
होता
जल्दी कर ना, लेट हो जाएगा फिर मेस बंद कर देगा. हाँ ठीक, अब कपड़ा इसमें अति करने लगा, ये भी बांडा एकदम अच्छी है.
दीपक जी, दीपक जी, हाँ प्लीज म्यूट योर माइक। हाँ, okay, development of thunderstorm. Pockets of air rise into the atmosphere either forced by a front or due to heating of the earth on a sunny day. When this air reaches a certain level in the atmosphere, cumulus clouds start to form. Okay, continued heating of the moist air can cause these clouds to grow vertically upward in the atmosphere into towering cumulus. Thus, cloud may be the first indication of a developing thunderstorm. Okay, तो हाउ लाइटनिंग फॉर्म्स, कैसे फॉर्म होता है? लाइटनिंग इज प्रोड्यूस्ड बिकॉज ऑफ द मैक्सिमम एंड कोलिजन ऑफ आइस crystals high in the thunderstorms
सर
with
प्लीज आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन सर।
yeah please।
सर इवैल्यूएशन और असेसमेंट में थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस हमें बता दीजिए सर, या दोनों एक ही होता है क्या?
नहीं, इवैल्यूएशन देखिए, इवैल्यूएशन तब होता है जब आपका कोई काम हो जाता है। ओके,
यस
after
सर।
completion of the activity, then evaluation is take place. Okay, when assessment takes place, assessment means before the activity the homework is known as assessment. Okay, means आप क्या करते हो, वो काम, मान लीजिए कोई डिजास्टर हो गया। ओके, उसको जब डिजास्टर नहीं आया है, क्या क्या होने का चांसेस है। ओके, जब आप उसके बारे में एनालिसिस करते हो, उसको हम बोलते हैं असेसमेंट। ओके, असेसमेंट। जब उसके बाद आप असेसमेंट हो जाता है, डिजास्टर हो जाता है, उसके बाद हम जो एनालिसिस करते हैं उसको हम इवैल्यूएट कहते हैं। as far as disaster management is concerned, assessment is treated as before activity and evaluation is treated as after activity. Got my points?
थैंक्स सर।
Okay, you are clear?
यस सर।
Okay, thank you Deepak, thank you. Okay, then हाँ, so heavier hail and rain gather a negative charges and fall toward the lower part of the cloud. The earth surface normally has a slight negative charge. However, as a negative charge built up in the lower part of the cloud, the ground beneath it and surrounding location become positively charged. Initially, the air acts as an insulator between these differing charges. However, when the electrical potential between the two charges became too great, there is a discharge of electricity known as lightning. तो लाइटनिंग जब डिस्चार्ज ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी होता है, तब जाके लाइटनिंग फॉर्म होता है। ओके विजय लक्ष्मी?
यस सर।
या तब डिस्चार्ज होता है, मतलब जो डिफरेंशिएशन ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है। ओके, देयर इज ए डिस्चार्ज ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नोन एज लाइटनिंग। जब उसका गैप बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है, देखो जब प्लस माइनस ठीक है, जब उनका बीच में गैपिंग ज्यादा हो जाता है, ओके, दैट गैपिंग लीड्स टू लाइटनिंग। ओके,
सर मैंने वही कहा, जब
हाँ
एयर एक चार्ज कंडक्ट करता है
या
और क्लाउड एक चार्ज कंडक्ट करता है, तब वो जब उसकी आदत है ना अट्रैक्शन करता है, तो फिर वो हाई स्पीड याद की तरफ आता है माइनस चार्ज, तो
एग्जैक्टली
उसे हम थंडरस्ट्रक करते हैं।
एग्जैक्टली नहीं, लाइटनिंग कहते हैं।
लाइटनिंग।
हाँ ओके, देन लेट अस डिस्कस लाइटिंग एंड थंडर्स। ओके, अभी डिस्कस करेंगे। देखो यहाँ पे एक वीडियो मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ, चलेगा? हाँ, देखो ये होता है क्या, लाइटनिंग। ओके, दिखाई दे रहा है?
नो सर।
नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है?
नो सर।
अच्छा, शायद
दिखाई दे रहा है सर, दिखाई दे रहा
दिखाई
है।
दे रहा ना? ओके, लैपटॉप में होंगे तो दिखाएगा, शायद विजय लक्ष्मी जो है मोबाइल में होंगे क्या, इसलिए। ओके ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। ओके, तो एक ये था लाइटनिंग जो बिना साउंड का। ओके, तो जब साउंड हमको सुनाई देता है, वो होता है क्या, थंडर्स। ओके, जिसको हम बोलते हैं थंडर्स। तो lightning is the giant spark of electricity that occurs within the atmosphere as it passes through the air. The 1 inch diameter or less bolt of lightning rapidly heats the air to a temperature of 50,000 degree Fahrenheit, which is hotter than the surface of the sun. The air expands rapidly due to the heating, then quickly contracts as it cools back to its normal temperature. This creates a shock wave that we hear as thunder. Okay. Then heat lighting. Heat lighting is simply lightning from a distant thunderstorm that is too far away from the resultant thunder to be had. In most cases, the light you observe is being reflected off clouds near the horizon tens of miles away. Keep an eye on the storm since it may be headed in your direction. जब वो आपका डायरेक्शन में आ रहा है हमेशा उसको नजर देना चाहिए. लिटिल नोन लाइटनिंग फैक्ट्स. क्या क्या होता है लाइटनिंग के बारे में कुछ शब्द हम जानेंगे. मेनी क्लाउड्स टू ग्राउंड लाइटनिंग क्लासेस हैव फॉर्म्ड ऑफ मल्टीपल अटैचमेंट पॉइंट्स टू अर्थ. ओके, अर्थ की तरह भी ज्यादातर अटैचमेंट उनका आता है. रिसेंट स्टडीज इंडिकेट दैट 50 to 70% of cloud to ground lightning strikes are formed. Lightning can spread out nearly 60 feet after striking the earth. Lightning can spread out nearly 60 फीट तक वो जा सकता है आफ्टर स्ट्राइकिंग द अर्थ. वो हिट जब करेगा अर्थ को 60 फीट का रेडियस में वो फैल सकता है. पूरा उसका जो डायमीटर है 60 फीट तक वो कवर अप कर सकता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन सॉयल कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. मान लीजिए वो अगर गीला होगा तो डेफिनेटली वो 60 फीट तक जाएगा. मान लीजिए वो एरिया अगर पूरा ड्राई होगा तो वो 30 फीट तक जा सकता है, 20 फीट तक जा सकता है, 10 फीट तक जा सकता है. मैक्सिमम रेंज इज 60 फीट. ओके, सो लाइटनिंग कैन स्ट्राइक द सेम प्लेस ट्वाइस. एक बार अगर वहां पे हुआ है तो डेफिनेटली दोबारा भी वहां पे मारने की चांसेस है. ओके, एंड इंक्रीजिंग.
अधिकतम कितना बार हो सकता है एक जगह पे सर?
टू टाइप्स हो सकता है. देखो एक कहावत है ना, एक जगह पे अगर हो गया है तो उसी पाथ को फॉलो करते हुए वहां पे आ सकता है. ओके, अगर अभी अभी वहां पे हुआ है तो दोबारा वहीं पे होने का चांसेस है. अजम्पशन है, नहीं भी हो सकता है लेकिन एक अजम्पशन है कि दोबारा भी उसी एरिया को स्ट्राइक कर सकता है क्योंकि उसको एक नजदीक रोड मिल गया, एक गाइडलाइंस मिल गया उसको. ओके, तो उसी एरिया को फॉलो करते हुए आने का चांसेस है. ओके, लाइटनिंग कैन स्ट्राइक द सेम प्लेस ट्वाइस. दोबारा हो सकता है. गॉट माय पॉइंट्स?
Yes sir.
Okay, an increasing in lighting activity or a rapid change in lighting polarity can be precursor to severe thunderstorm or टोरंडो. ये क्या होता है? सिवियर थंडरस्टॉर्म में भी चेंजेस हो सकता है. ओके, रैपिड चेंजेस होने के कारण वो पोलैरिटी उसका जो है ज्यादा होने के कारण वो उसका इंटेंसिटी हाई होने का भी चांसेस है. While no one can completely eliminate the risk being struck by lightning, you can greatly reduce your risk of becoming a lightning casualty by following some basic rules. अगर हम ये सारा फॉलोइंग रूल्स को फॉलो करेंगे तो वहां पे हम विक्टिम तो होंगे लेकिन हम खुद को बचा सकते हैं. तो ये अवेयरनेस के तौर पर आपको जानना बहुत जरूरी है. ओके, देखो क्या करना है, प्लान अहेड. ओके, आपको क्या करना है, इफ थंडरस्टॉर्म आर इन द फोरकास्ट. अगर आपको पहले से बता दिया गया है जैसे कि आज भुवनेश्वर में बारिश होने का चांसेस है, इट हैज बीन ब्रॉडकास्ट अर्लियर कि फ्रॉम 7 to 11 सिवियर थंडरस्टॉर्म्स और काला बैसाखी विल हिट भुवनेश्वर or in many places of Odisha. It has been broadcasted. So according to that, you need to plan your programs. Okay, if thunderstorm are in the forecast, consider postponing outdoor activities. अगर आपको पता है थंडरस्टॉर्म होने वाला है तो आउटडोर जाने का काम बंद कर दीजिए, चाहे आप घर में रुक जाइए. ओके, वॉच द स्काई.
सर अधिकतर पहाड़ी एरिया में ही क्यों लाइटनिंग ज्यादा होती है?
उसी पॉइंट में मैं आ रहा हूं. देखो ठीक है, वो आप बोलो, मैं डिस्कशन कर लेता हूं. देखो उसी पॉइंट में मैं आ रहा हूं. क्यों वो हिट करेगा पहाड़ी एरिया को? क्योंकि देखो कोई भी आदमी सक्सेस होने के लिए क्या करता है? सक्सेस
साम
होने
दाम
के
दंड भेद सभी लगा देता है सर.
क्या
साम दाम दंड भेद
सब लगा देता है. तो नहीं, आदमी क्या होता है ना, हमेशा शॉर्टकट की तरह भागता है. ओके, आज का जमाना में मैक्सिमम लोग फास्ट फूड को क्यों प्रीफर करते हैं? क्योंकि वो तुरंत हो जाता है.
फास्ट फूड तो सिर्फ गर्ल्स लोग ना प्रीफर करते हैं, बॉयज कहाँ खाते हैं?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. हर कोई प्रीफर करता है क्योंकि हमको जल्दी खाना चाहिए. फास्ट फूड डज नॉट मीन चाउमीन, पिज्जा, बर्गर, एवरीथिंग वी आर मतलब आज का डेट में छतुआ छतुआ
Sir,
क्या
I
हो
am
गया?
a girl, but I don't eat fast food daily basis.
दैट्स गुड. नहीं नहीं, माय पॉइंट इज नॉट
सर ये
I'm
दैट.
झूठ
also
बोल रही है, झूठ
vegetarian.
बोल रही है सर।
I'm also vegetarian now.
ये
ओके
झूठ बोल रही है, इसको हम खाते देखे हैं नॉनवेज।
ओके,
You
वेरी
know
गुड.
who am I?
ओके कोई बात नहीं, खाओ अपना मर्जी, जो इच्छा है खाओ, कोई बात नहीं. लेकिन फास्ट फूड क्या होता है, हम लोग को जल्दी खाना खाने के लिए हम क्या करते हैं, भूख लगता है तो तुरंत खाना खा लेते हैं. ओके, तो इसीलिए हम ज्यादातर प्रीफर करते हैं कि फास्ट फूड. 1 घंटा 2 घंटा तक वो इंतजार करने के लिए हमको हिम्मत नहीं रहता. आज सेम कोई लाइटनिंग अगर होता है, कोई थंडरस्टॉर्म अगर होता है, लाइटनिंग क्या करता है, एक शॉर्टकट वे ढूंढता है. एक शॉर्टकट वे ढूंढता है कैसे वो खुद को न्यूट्रलाइज कर लेगा. ओके, तो उसको न्यूट्रलाइज करने के लिए पहाड़ियों सबसे ऊंची जगह पर होते हैं कि नहीं होते हैं? ऊंची जगह पर होते हैं ना, पहाड़ी तो हमेशा हाइटेड है ना. तो हमेशा उस एरिया में जब वो ग्राउंडेड हो जाता है तो उसको सबसे कम रूट तय करना पड़ता है, छोटा सा रास्ता उसको तय करना पड़ता है. इसीलिए मैक्सिमम लाइटनिंग्स पहाड़ी एरिया में ही ज्यादा होता है. और पहाड़ी एरिया में क्लाउड्स जो है उनका जो गतिविधि है, उनका डिस्टेंस बहुत कम में होता है. ओके, कंपैरिजन टू नॉर्मल रीजन, हाइटेड रीजन पे क्लाउड्स का जो मूवमेंट है वो इसका एरिया को थोड़ा कम हो जाता है. तो दैट इज द अनदर काज. ओके, तो उसी पॉइंट में मैं आ रहा हूं दीपक जी. ओके
यस सर।
ओके ओके. तो देखो अभी अभी क्या हुआ, तो वॉच द स्काई, मेक श्योर यू और समवन इन योर ग्रुप मॉनिटर करंट वेदर कंडीशन, लुक फॉर अप्रोचिंग dark clouds and changes in the sky. This is especially important if you need time to get to safe place. Outdoor events are very susceptible to lightning strikes because these activities takes place इन ओपन एरियाज. ओके, सो अगर आप स्काई को देखो, मान लीजिए जो बोलते हैं ना कि ये जो ब्लैक क्लाउड्स, जो कड़ाहंडिया उड़िया में बोलते हैं, कड़ाहंडिया में ब्लैक क्लाउड्स. ओके, सो दोज क्लाउड्स आर वेरी मच डेंजरियस. ओके, आपको पता ही होगा जब बचपन में हम लोग स्कूल से मतलब आते थे उस टाइम, मतलब आपका सिर का ऊपर ही मतलब ब्लैक क्लाउड्स मूव करते थे. और वो क्या होता है, उसका ट्रैप में अगर आप रह जाओगे ना तो वही क्लाउड सबसे मतलब खतरनाक होता है. ओके, कभी भी उसका ट्रैप में नहीं रहना है, कभी भी. ओके, व्हेन थंडर्स रोर्स, जब आपका घड़घड़ी का आवाज आता है, जब आपका थंडर्स का आवाज आता है, गो इंडोर्स. व्हेन यू कैन हियर थंडर्स यू कैन क्लोज इनफ टू द स्ट्रॉम टू बी स्ट्रक बाय लाइटनिंग.
सर
या
सर जो थंडर स्टॉर्म होती है, जो बिजली गिरती है, उसकी अधिकतम मतलब कितना वाट हो सकता है सर?
कितना
अगर
बार?
उसको, हाँ उसको अभी देख रहे हैं कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट स्टोर करने के लिए भी कुछ स्कीम ला रही है, जैसे में बरसात में जो ठंडर, जहाँ जैसे झारखंड हो गया,
हाँ
उड़ीसा
हाँ
क्षेत्र में, तो देहरादून में,
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
तो इसका कितना ज्यादा मतलब पावर होता है अधिकतम?
ये इसका बहुत पावर होता है, उसको बाद में हम बहुत सारा चीज के लिए इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. ओके, एक्चुअली मेरे को वहां तक उसका जानकारी नहीं है कि कितना मतलब वो स्टोर कर सकता है. ओके, आई विल कलेक्ट एंड इफ आई फाउंड देन आई विल लेट यू नो. ओके
यस सर।
ओके ओके. देन क्या होता है, एक रूल होता है, ये रूल मैं आपको समझाने की कोशिश करता हूँ. लाइटनिंग एंड थंडर स्टोर्म में 30-30 का एक रूल होता है. ओके, यू नीड टू फॉलो दैट. मीन्स जब मान लीजिए कि आपको पहले पहले आपको क्या सुनाई देगा, कि पहले आपको क्या दिखाई देगा, लाइटनिंग दिखाएगा या थंडर्स दिखेगा, सुनाएगा आपको, कौन दिखाएगा?
First lightning, then thunder.
फास्ट लाइटनिंग देन थंडर. हाँ मानस ମୁଁ କରୁଛି ଟିକେ ପରେ. ହଁ ପହଞ୍ଚି ଗଲ ନା? ହଁ
ହଁ ସେ ସୁଗାର କମି ଯାଇଥିଲା।
ओके ओके ମୁଁ କରୁଛି କରୁଛି. ओके ओके, तो पहले क्या होगा?
Lightning, then thunder.
हाँ, बिकॉज लाइट ट्रेवल्स फास्टर देन साउंड. ओके, तो पहले हमको लाइट दिखाई देगा, उसके बाद हमको थंडर सुनाई देगा. तो एक चीज याद रख लेना विजय लक्ष्मी, उसका जो गैपिंग है वो 30 सेकेंड्स का होना चाहिए. मान लीजिए 30-30 रूल. पहले मान लीजिए कि आपको लाइटनिंग दिखाई दिया. ओके, लाइटनिंग दिखने के बाद आप स्टार्ट काउंटिंग 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 अप टू 30. If you are counting from 1 to 30 and at the time of 20 you are counting, you are hearing the sound of thunder, then you are in a risk zone. Got my points? मेरा पॉइंट समझ में आया?
यस सर।
मीन्स अगर आपको लाइटनिंग दिखाई दिया, उसके बाद आप काउंटिंग करते जाओ, मान लीजिए 5 काउंट किए हो, तुरंत आपको थंडर सुनाई दिया, घड़घड़ी सुनाई दिया, ओके, तो यू आर इन ए रिस्क जोन। ओके, मान लीजिए कि आप काउंटिंग करते गए 30 तक आपको कुछ भी सुनाई नहीं दिया, मान लीजिए 40 तक गिने, कोई सुनाई नहीं दिया, तो यू आर इन लिटिल बिट लेस रिस्की जोन। गॉट माई पॉइंट्स?
यस सर।
यस सर।
इससे हमें थंडर की स्पीड पता चलता है शायद।
नहीं, थंडर का स्पीड नहीं, वो एक रूल है जो कि मतलब साइंटिस्ट लोग का एक रिसर्च से पता चला है कि 30-30 रूल अगर हम फॉलो करते हैं, हमको पता चलता है कि हम जो जिस एरिया में हम लोग हैं वहां पे लाइटनिंग हिट करेगा या नहीं करेगा। ओके, ये एक अजम्पशन है, इट इज नॉट 100% श्योर, बट इट इज एन अजम्पशन। ओके, अजम्स हम अज्यूम कर सकते हैं कि नहीं होगा करके। इट इज अ गाइडलाइंस ऑफ एनआईडीएम, नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, एनडीए में एज वेल। ओके, ये गाइडलाइंस में आप देख सकते हो। ओके, ओके, गेट अवे फ्रॉम वाटर, स्टॉप एक्टिविटी इन और नियर वाटर सच एज स्विमिंग, बोटिंग, फिशिंग, कैंपिंग, ये जो भी आप कर रहे हो वाटर एक्टिविटीज को तुरंत बंद कर देना चाहिए। ओके, रिमूव डाइड और रोटेटिंग ट्रीज एंड ये जितने भी है, देखो ये 30-30 रूल में आपको देखा, रिमेंबर द 30-30 लाइटनिंग सेफ्टी रूल्स, ये सारा पॉइंट आप स्क्रीनशॉट ले लीजिए। ओके, ये सारा चीज आप जानना बहुत जरूरी है। ओके, मान लीजिए आप घर के अंदर हो और आप 30-30 काउंटिंग करते करते आपको पता चल गया कि मैं रिस्की जोन में हूं, तो आप क्या करोगे? घर का पूरा जो लाइटनिंग मेन इलेक्ट्रिक सप्लाई है उसको बंद कर दीजिए। ओके, और घर का कोई भी डोर और कोई भी विंडोज के पास मत बैठिए, घर का सेंटर पे चले आइए। ओके, ये सारा काम आप करो। और घर में जितने भी लोग हो, हर किसी के साथ कम्युनिकेशन बजाय रखिए, यानी कि एक जगह में हर कोई ना बैठ जाए, दूसरे दूसरे रूम पे चले जाइए, रूम का बीचों बीच चले जाइए। ओके, कोई भी दीवार के साथ लटक के ना रहे, विंडोज एंड डोर से अलग रहे। घर के मान लीजिए 3 लोग हो, 3 अलग अलग रूम में चले जाओ और अपने आप के बीच में कम्युनिकेशन बजाय रखो। ईच एंड एवरी कुछ मिनट्स के गैप में उनका नाम से पुकारो, पापा आप हो, बेटी आप हो, वाइफ उनका नाम लेके आप हो, ऐसे करके कम्युनिकेशन बजाय रखो। ओके, अगर हो सके आप मोबाइल का इस्तेमाल अगर घर के अंदर हो तो करने से कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अगर इतना जरूरत नहीं है तो मोबाइल को एक दूसरे जगह पे रख लो, मोबाइल का इस्तेमाल बंद, मतलब बंद मत करो, घर के अंदर हो तो यू आर इन सेफ साइडर। ओके, बट बंद कर देने से अच्छा है। ओके, और जितने भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स का आपका सामान है उसको सब अनप्लग करके रखो। ओके, बाकी जितना भी हम लोग का जैसे जो पहले आता था फोन, जो कॉर्ड फोन, हाँ, उसको पूरा अवॉइड करो। ओके, अवॉइड कॉन्टैक्ट विद इलेक्ट्रिकल इक्विपमेंट्स, कोई भी इलेक्ट्रिकल इक्विपमेंट्स के साथ आपको कॉन्टैक्ट नहीं आना चाहिए, एसी बंद होना चाहिए। अवॉइड कॉन्टैक्ट विद प्लम्बिंग, कोई भी प्लम्बिंग का काम आपका नहीं करोगे, जो भी प्लम्बिंग का काम है और प्लम्बिंग के कॉन्टैक्ट से दूर रहिए। स्टे अवे फ्रॉम विंडोज एंड डोर्स, जो बोल चुका हूं मैं। डू नॉट लाई ऑन कंक्रीट फ्लोर्स, आपको बोल दिया हूं। ज्यादा क्या करोगे, आप कोई भी चेयर के ऊपर बैठ जाइए, अपना बेड के ऊपर बैठ जाइए, ऐसा करो। अवॉइड हिल टॉप्स, जैसे अभी इन्होंने बोल रहे थे कि हिल्स में क्यों होता है, अवॉइड हिल टॉप्स, ओपन फील्ड, द बीच और ए बोट ऑन द वाटर, ये सारा जगह को आप अवॉइड करो। टेक ए शेल्टर इन ए स्टोरी बिल्डिंग, अवॉइड आइसोलेटेड शेड और अदर स्मॉल स्ट्रक्चर इन ओपन एरियाज, ये सारा को अवॉइड करना चाहिए। अभी देखो मैं ये जो बंदे लोग जो किए हैं, मैं एक फोटो आपको दिखाई दे रहा है, ये फोटो, हेलो विजय लक्ष्मी, हेलो हेलो,
नो सर, आई
बोलिए
कांट
सर।
सी एनीथिंग।
दिखाई दे रहा है दीपक?
यस सर, यस सर,
दिखाई दे रहा है ना? तो आई थिंक विजय
यस
लक्ष्मी,
सर, आई कैन सी।
ओके। सो ये जो दिखाई दे रहा है, देखो विजय लक्ष्मी, दिखाई दे रहा है?
नहीं सर, शायद लैपटॉप नहीं है इसलिए नहीं दिख रहा।
ओके, ठीक है। तो इसको बोलते हैं एलएसपी, लाइटनिंग सेफ्टी पोस्चर। ओके, ये पोजीशन में आप बैठ जाओ। मान लीजिए आपका और कोई चारा नहीं है, आप ना घर के अंदर जा सकते हो, ना आपकी कोई बिल्डिंग के नीचे जा सकते हो, ना क्या कर सकते हो, तो आप उसी पोजीशन में मान लीजिए कि आपको रहना ही पड़ेगा, तो डेफिनेटली आप ये एलएसपी वाला पोजीशन ले लीजिए। इसमें क्या किए हैं ये बंदे लोग, अपना टो के ऊपर खड़े मतलब बैठे हैं, और अपना कान को बंद किए हैं, मुंडी को नीचे किए हैं, जितना कम से कम अपना अपने को एक्सपोज करना हो सके उतने ही एक्सपोज किए हैं। ओके, इसको बोलते हैं लाइटनिंग सेफ्टी पोस्चर्स। ओके, अवॉइड कॉन्टैक्ट विद एनीथिंग मेटल, ट्रैक्टर्स, फार्म इक्विपमेंट, मोटरसाइकिल, गोल्फ कार्ट्स एंड बाइसाइकिल्स। मान लीजिए कभी अगर आप मूवमेंट कर रहे हो गाड़ी के अंदर, ओके, उस टाइम में लाइटनिंग हो रहा है, आप रोड के ऊपर अगर रहना चाहते हो तो क्या करोगे, वहां पे देखो कि कोई पेड़ वगैरह नहीं है, वो साइड में आपका गाड़ी व्हीकल को साइड कर लीजिए, गाड़ी का चाबी को ऑफ कर लीजिए, चाबी को अपना ये से डॉक डॉक से निकाल दीजिए, निकाल के पूरा बैठ जाइए। कोशिश करो कि आपका कोई भी पार्ट, यानी कि हाथ आपका कोई भी मेटल पार्ट में नहीं होना चाहिए, रबर पार्ट में आप बैठे हुए हो, फोम में बैठे हुए हो, सो यू आर इन ए सेफर साइड बिकॉज योर व्हीकल कंटेन्स व्हील्स एंड व्हील्स आर द इंसुलेटेड। ओके, का काम करेगा, आपको उतना कुछ प्रॉब्लम होने का चांसेस नहीं होगा। नॉन कंडक्टर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, ओके, टायर आपका नॉन कंडक्टर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है, तो इसीलिए उतना घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है। अनलेस अनटिल जब लाइटनिंग आपको पर्टिकुलर हिट नहीं करेगा तब तक आपका कुछ प्रॉब्लम होगा नहीं, लेकिन इट इज बेटर टू मूव ऑन टू स्टे। ओके, आप मूव मत करके एक जगह पे स्टे हो जाओ, कोशिश करो कोई भी पेड़ आपका पास नहीं होना चाहिए। इफ यू आर ड्राइविंग, ट्राई टू सेफली एग्जिट द रोडवे एंड पार्क, stay in the vehicle and turn on the emergency flashers until the heavy rain ends. Avoid touching metal, जो मैं बोला आपको। If you are in group during thunderstorm, this will reduce the number of injuries if lightning strikes the ground. LSP अगर आप लिए हो ऐसे पोजीशन में, अगर ग्रुप में हो तो डेफिनेटली आपको सेव करेगा। ओके, इफ यू आर कॉट इन एन ओपन एरिया, क्रॉस डाउन, ऐसे आपको ये पोजीशन को एलाबोरेट किया है। ओके, लाइटनिंग सेफ्टी टिप्स, व्हाट टू डू आफ्टर लाइटनिंग्स। ओके, सो अभी आपको बोल दिया लाइटनिंग के बाद नेवर ड्राइव थ्रू ए फ्लडेड रोडवे। कोई अगर फ्लडेड वहां पे पानी का ये है वहां पे मत जाइए। टर्न अराउंड, डोंट ड्राउन। ओके, स्टे अवे फ्रॉम स्टॉर्म्स, कंटिन्यू टू लिसन टू लोकल रेडियोज। उसके बाद लोकल रेडियोज को सुनो कि कब तक ये होने वाला है, क्या क्या होने वाला है। हेल्प पीपुल हु मे रिक्वायर स्पेशल असिस्टेंस। अगर कोई आपको फोन करके बोल रहा है कि मेरा बेटे का ये हो गया आफ्टर द लाइटनिंग, देन आप जाओ, उनको असिस्ट करो, उनको हॉस्पिटल लेके जाओ, उनको मोरल सपोर्ट दो, ये सारा काम करो। ओके, स्टे अवे फ्रॉम डाउन पावर लाइन्स। अगर कोई पावर लाइन डाउन हुआ है तो वहां से आप थोड़ा अलग रहो। ओके, वॉच योर एनिमल्स क्लोजली। आप एनिमल्स को भी देखो, उनको भी हिट कर सकता है। ओके, इफ यू आर समवन यू नो हैज बीन स्ट्रक बाय लाइटनिंग, कॉल 108। इन ओडिशा इट इज 112 इमीडिएटली। ओके, देन पेट सेफ्टी में भी वही सारा सेफ्टी है। being pets indoor well in advance of a storm, never leave pets tied up outside। उनको बाहर बांध के छोड़ दिया मत करिए, उनको घर ले आइए। if they are frightened, वो डर गए हैं तो रीअश्योर देम, रिमेन काम। उनको जाके माथे पे थोड़ा उनको आश्वस्त करिए कि कुछ नहीं होगा, कुछ हुआ नहीं, वो खत्म हो चुका है, ऐसे करके उनको थोड़ा आश्वासना दीजिए। कीप पेट्स अवे फ्रॉम विंडोज, विंडोज से उनको दूर रखिए। डोंट गिव योर पेट ए बाथ ड्यूरिंग ए स्टॉर्म। अगर बारिश हो रहा है तो उसको उस टाइम मत नहाइए। ओके, बी अवर दैट पेट्स बिहेवियर में चेंज बिफोर, ड्यूरिंग एंड आफ्टर डिजास्टर। ओके, तो अभी हम लोग क्या क्या जाने, द साइंस ऑफ लाइटनिंग जाने, लिटिल कुछ उसके बारे में जाने, फैक्ट्स अबाउट लाइटनिंग, लाइटनिंग सेफ्टी के बारे में जाने, एलएसपी पेड सेफ्टी के बारे में जाने, ड्यूरिंग क्या करोगे, बिफोर क्या करोगे, आफ्टर क्या करोगे, उसके बारे में थोड़ा जानकारी लिए। लाइटनिंग स्ट्राइक इंजुरीज क्या क्या हो सकता है उसके बारे में जाना है। यहाँ तक अगर किसी का कोई सवाल तो आप पूछ सकते हो।
Sir, may I ask you something?
या नो प्रॉब्लम, यू कैन आस्क।
Sir, as far as our level of perception is concerned, we know the IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, and other department are working, and NDRF and other department are working very nicely in order to prevent, in order to like create awareness and they are like they have been doing awareness programs, and they have been like working anonymously for the welfare of our country and our people. But the thing is that, sir, sometimes we hear that these are the like earthquakes and tsunamis and other things happen just because of the rival. Hello.
Yes, yes, Deepak. Continue.
Sometimes it happen like man-made earthquake and floods are coming due to the like rivalry of two states or the different nations.
Mhm.
So, in perspective of international relations, what should be the what should be the like suggested measures?
Already I have discussed many points. In earthquake, there are separate topics. Tomorrow, the topic will be search and rescue. It is based on earthquake management system only. Okay, because search and rescue came into force after the earthquake happens. Okay, we'll discuss a topic about that only in tomorrow only. Okay, what we will do, what not to do at the time of earthquake, how we will how we will diagnose the area, how we will measure the area, how we will evaluate the area post disaster, pre disaster, during disaster. All the activities will be discussed in tomorrow session. It is search, rescue, and evacuation section. Okay, you will grab a lot of knowledge in tomorrow section. Be on time, definitely discuss about that. Okay, it is clear, Deepak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tomorrow at 5:30 we'll discuss search, rescue, and evacuation, and you will learn a lot of things about earthquake management system. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Now it is the time to wind up the class. Okay. So good night to all of you. Thank you for um, giving your valuable time and okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.